They're competing with you. They are competing with you. So you can stop gaslighting yourself, stop trying to act like what you're thinking, what you're feeling is just going on in your head. No, they are competing with you. And competition is subtle, but there's definitely tension there. You're not imagining it, and no, you're not overthinking it. That's what's really going on, okay? I want you to start trusting your gut feeling. Stop going against the gut. Stop saying, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day. No, you felt it for a reason. God is trying to warn you. You better listen. They are competing with you, okay? And like I said, it's subtle, so you might not always notice it, but it's there. You can feel it. So some things that they'll do is they might minimize your accomplishments. Maybe you got a new job. They'll say some slick shit. You got to watch them. They'll say something slick like, oh, wow, I wish it was that easy for me to get a job. Who told you that me applying to this job and getting this job was easy? That's that subtle dismissiveness, right? Because they have to feel like things are easy for you. Because if they accepted the fact that you worked hard, that you really showed up, put in the work, well, now they're going to feel less than because they're not doing that, right? So in order to make themselves feel better, they have to convince themselves that things just come easily to you. You getting that new job, that was light work for you, right? But they have to put in real work. In other words, they're not putting in any work and they don't want to feel bad about it, okay? Something else they might do is you might share a win and then they got to one up you. So you could say something like, yeah, I just got approved for a house. They could one up you and say something like, oh, yeah, well, I got approved for a house with this interest rate because my credit score is at 800. Girl, nobody even asked you for that. Like, why you got to put all that extraness in there? They're doing it because they have to feel good about themselves because you make them feel really, really small. Okay. It's something about you. I don't know if it's your energy. I don't know if it's everything you touch turns to gold. There is something about you that makes them feel this small. So they got to make themselves feel better to make themselves feel better. So that means they got to put you down. They gotta they gotta one up you, and they do it all the time. You gotta watch them, right? You really have to become self-aware. If you're not self-aware, then you can't be aware of what other people are doing. Okay, so you have to understand. There's a reason why people are competing with you. 9 times out of 10, it's because they're extremely insecure. Okay, these are not people who are leveled up people. These are not people who are solely focused on reaching their goals. These are people who are insecure. These are people who probably have wanted to accomplish things, but they don't have the discipline, they don't have the grit, they don't have the resilience. These are people who have no plan for their life. These are people who have scarcity mindsets. So, they don't live their life in abundance. These are the people who they think there's only a certain amount of money out here. And if you were to try to do what they do, you could steal their potential money from them, but there's abundance and we can all get a piece of the pie. These people are just not working on being their highest self every single day. That's not what they're on, okay? And so they encounter someone like you and you live a completely different life. You have a completely different mindset. Everything you touch turns to gold. When you set out to get something done, you get it. Even if things aren't going well for you, you're still trying. You haven't given up on yourself, right? You probably have this air of confidence on you, and it's not even pretend confidence. Like, that's just really who you are. And the reason why you are so confident in yourself and you know that everything you touch turns to gold is because you are working every single day on being the best version of yourself. Okay. And, time and time again, when you keep showing up for yourself and you keep putting in that work, you build that self-confidence and that self-love and that self-respect. Because I tell people this all the time. Confidence is just who you think you are. Okay. So, if you do think highly of yourself, that's because you have proven to yourself time and time again that when you want something, you go and get it done. And those results don't just fall into your lap. That's something that you worked for. So that's why you have the confidence that you have. But see, a lot of times you'll end up encountering people who they give up on themselves. They don't keep the promises that they make to themselves. They got idea after idea, right? But if they're too tired, they ain't gonna do it. If they don't feel like it, they ain't gonna do it, right? They always let life, and they don't keep the promises that they make to themselves. So for them, like I said, confidence is who you think you are. Well, they don't think highly of themselves because they never keep the promises that they make to themselves. They succumb to their distractions time and time and time again, right? That's who we're talking about. And that's why they feel the way they feel about you, is because that confidence that you have on you, that great energy that you have on you, they want that. They want that. They don't have it, right? So like I said, they will downplay you. They will compare themselves to you, or they'll even compare other people to you. So let's say you have a business, right? Maybe you're a content creator and you're telling somebody, hey, my video just got this amount of views. Like, I'm so excited. This is my first viral post. Instead of them just sitting in your milestone and congratulating you and bigging you up, they're going to say something like, oh, my friend, their video gets 5 million views every day. I can't make this up. They'll literally do it. That's why I said you got to watch them. And you'll be like, okay, but we're talking about me. But they're doing that so that they can not feel this small around you. Like I said, it's something on you. It's something that you got going on. It could be your beautifulness. It is something that is triggering them. But you're not even trying to trigger them, right? You're just showing up as yourself. You're not trying to prove anything. You're not trying to boast. You're just trying to celebrate something that you are really proud of yourself for. And they can't do that because you make them feel very small. And again, that is because you always keep the promises that you make to yourself, and they don't. See, what these people fail to realize is if they just stop making excuses, if they just stop procrastinating, if they just locked in, they can get the same results as you. You're not doing anything that other people cannot do. You're just the person that's willing to do it. Like, that's it. Like, everybody says they want to lose weight until it's time to actually lose weight. And what does that entail? That entails eating less food. That entails being active consistently, not just once a month, but damn near every day. That's why I said people want to lose weight until it's time to lose weight. People want to start a business, or people want to have a business until it's time to actually have one. See, everyone wants the fantasy version of entrepreneurship, right? So, sorry, I got something stuck on me. It could be like, I want to take the lavish trips. I want the popularity. I want the big followings. I want $10,000 deposits. Like, they want these things until it's time to actually do the things that get you to the thing that you claim you want. So nobody wants to talk about the sleepless nights. Nobody wants to talk about how stressed out you are because you're not making sales and your rent is due by next week. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that every time you make money, you got to spend money to make more money. No one wants to talk about how you are constantly reinvesting into your business. Nobody wants to talk about all of the self-doubt that you deal with regularly because you're trying to figure out if you're chasing something real, or this is never going to happen. No one wants to talk about all that when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? So they're not willing to do the thing that gets them to the thing, but you are. You are willing to put in the work. You are willing to show up. And that's where you're getting the results that you get, no matter what it's in. It could be in the degree program that you're in. I don't know. But again, because you have that resilience on you, that grit, you make them feel really small. And like I said, you're not doing it intentionally, but that's because they refuse to work on themselves. They spend way too much time watching what other people are doing, pocket watching, scrolling on social media and watching what other people are doing. That's why they do that, because they're not focused on themselves. And the biggest thing I can tell you is you got to stop projecting. I struggle with this. Because you're a good person, you project that mindset onto others, and you think that because you're a good person, they're a good person. You think that because you're a supportive friend, they're a supportive friend. You think that because you know how to congratulate people, they know how to congratulate people. That's projecting. You are projecting your good energy, your confidence, your self-love onto others. And you are assuming that because you love yourself and respect yourself, that they love themselves and respect themselves. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. That is not true. You are projecting. Everybody does not see the world in the way you see the world. Okay? Not everybody has that confidence within them like you have that confidence within yourself. So you have got to stop projecting, and you have got to stop thinking that They ain't mean it like that. Yes, they did. You have got to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. They are showing you time and time again that they are competing with you. And you can't be friends with someone who's competing with you. It will never be healthy. It'll always be them trying to one up you. And you gotta let them go. A lot of times people are in your life for a season. Maybe there was a lesson to be learned. Maybe it was for you to teach them what is possible if they stop making excuses in their own life, right? But it's not your job to sit around and coach them through it. They have to want to work on themselves internally. There's nothing you can do. All they're going to do is bring you down. You're going to start minimizing yourself. When you share a win and something that you're proud of, and they come back with oh, well, I did this, or my friend did that, or sometimes they'll just straight out ignore you. I've had that where you share something that you're just so excited, so you want to tell your friend because that's your friend, and then they literally just ghost you. I've experienced that, and over time, well, at first I thought, well, maybe they're busy, right? Maybe they just didn't see it. They'll text me back later. But then when they would text me back, they would just completely ignore the milestone I just accomplished that I shared. But then when they want to share something, they want to tell me so I can congratulate them, right? And I had to realize, those people aren't meant to be in your life. You shouldn't even want to surround yourself with people who make you feel like what you're doing is not a big deal. Like the people that you surround yourself with, they need to be like, just really telling you how amazing you are. Like they need to be excited, like jumping for joy. Like they just really need to make you feel good. Because if you continue to hang around people who are competing with you and who try to diminish you, and all that's going to do is low key make you tear yourself down. Those big milestones that you're accomplishing, if you keep sharing that with people who are competing with you over time, you're going to start to think, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I'm not that great, right? That's how they'll have you feeling. But that's what they want you to feel, because that's how they feel about themselves. But the point I'm making is you can't continue to be friends with people like that. They're just going to bring your energy down. They're just going to make you feel less than. You've worked so hard to build your confidence up. Listen, building confidence, that's tough. Like, I'm not sitting here saying people can't do it because they can. I did it. I was not always a confident woman. But the amount of resilience that you have to earn every single day, that's hard. Like, showing up even when you don't feel like it, keeping pushing even when you're not getting the results that you want, to keep doing that, to build that confidence, keeping those promises that you make yourself, that's hard work. You literally have to take on a whole new identity in order to start believing in yourself. Because let's face it, society, they don't want you believing in yourself. The minute you think you're beautiful, you're cocky, you're arrogant. The minute you think you are amazing, you're a narcissist, right? Society just wants to have all these negative words attached to feeling good about yourself. And then they be using it wrong. Yeah, there are narcissists, but you are supposed to be confident in yourself. Narcissism is a spectrum, right? But people will quickly throw you're a narcissist on it because you love yourself. No, how are you? That's not narcissistic. That's how things are supposed to be. So to have that level of self-love and self-discipline, that's hard. You don't want no one around you who's tearing you down, who's making you feel like you're not her. You don't want that. Come on. You don't want that in your life. If you were to sit there and think about what kind of friends you want in your life, I bet you nowhere on that list would you put anything along the lines of someone who doesn't make me feel good about myself. You don't want that. Nowhere on that list would you put on there, I want a friend who always tells me something they're working on the minute I'm telling them something I'm working on, and they can't celebrate me. You would not want that on your list. So why are you still hanging out with those people? They're competing with you. You really are her. Yes. You really are amazing. Yes. I'm telling you, this video is confirmation. You are really that person. So yeah, they are competing with you. Yes, they meant it. No, they're not going to change. Listen, I told y'all before, most people don't change. Most people do not change, unfortunately, right? Because change requires you to get to a point in your life where not changing outweighs changing. Where changing outweighs not changing. Like, you have to really hit rock bottom and want to do better for yourself. And most people, unfortunately, they're going to be in that mindset of, woe is me, or it's not my fault. There's nothing really driving that change. They probably also have people around them who enable the behavior that they have, so they don't have a reason to want to change, right? It takes a special type of person to truly not only want to change, but actually carry out the change, okay? And so you can't waste your time around people like that. It's just going to bring you down. And in order for you to keep leveling up, keep hitting new milestones, you're going to have to keep growing that confidence. So you don't even have time to have people around you who are trying to tear down at your confidence, because then you're not going to reach that next milestone. Notice how they say things like, the minute you let go of someone who's toxic, you start flourishing, right? You start getting better. Things just come to you. Well, that's because that person who was toxic was tearing down your confidence. You have to believe that you are the SHIT in order to actually get stuff done. You have to be delusional. You have to know, even though the odds are against you, it's still going to work out for you, right? You have to have that level of confidence. And when you're around toxic people who are competing with you, diminishing you, trying to make you feel like what you got going on really isn't that big of a deal, you're going to lose that level of delusion. You're going to lose that self-belief. So you can't even have that people around you. That's why when you let them go, you start to build that back up. And now you're back to your normal routine of getting shit done. So, let them go, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. They are competing with you because they are not healed within themselves. And most of the time they ain't going to heal it. So you might as well just find you some friends who are real confident, or just spend more time by yourself. I get the most stuff done when I am by myself. And some people will say, isn't that lonely? No, because if you're doing things that you truly love to do, yeah, you might have days where you don't feel like it. You might not love everything about your business, or you might not love every class in that degree, or you might not love all the things you got to do to lose weight. But for the most part, you are still locked into that goal because you truly enjoy what you're doing. You're proud of yourself and you love it here. So it's not lonely. But, stop hanging around insecure people. Because it's only insecure people who are going to treat you like this. A confident woman who's working on her own shit, who has done her inner work, she's not competing with you. She's going to be that cheerleader. She's going to be that support system. She's going to remind you how amazing you are. So choose your friends wisely. Bye, guys.